one thing very clear. The CRC opposes in the strongest terms any change to the process that decreases transparency and public access to the complaint and appeal process. I want to stress that the timing of these changes affords a very limited opportunity for meaningful input from the CRC. Although Jim Young, one of the longest-serving members of the CRC, was part of the focus group that generated this proposal, his service on that body was conditioned on secrecy. He couldn't tell us what was being discussed, and we could provide him no input. So while Mr. Young certainly provided a perspective from the CRC, he couldn't truly represent the committee in those conversations. Instead, we first heard what had come from these proposals on July 6th, only hours before our regularly scheduled meeting. The CRC was only able to meet to discuss their perspective last week. A recording of that meeting was created by IPR, and we encourage council to listen to it. What we realized at that meeting is we're dealing with a proposal that is poorly understood, even by its drafters, and that is therefore hardly clear to us. What we did hear was that consolidated model is likely to require that appeals be conducted in non-public meetings. Assuming the new model permits a complainant to testify in those proceedings, complainants will be forced to testify in a room full of uniformed officers. And it will require CRC members to conduct their deliberations in the same context without community support. Many members of the CRC felt that this could have a chilling effect on community complaints, as well as CRC criticism of bureau practices. The CRC was encouraged that the consolidated model would finally permit the committee to apply an appropriate fact-finding standard, the preponderance of the evidence standard, and to hear appeals related to all manner of allegations, including those stemming from officer-involved shootings and in-custody deaths. These are important changes to the citizen review process that the CRC has been pursuing for some time. However, the CRC felt that these gains would not make up for the severe losses to the community inherent in the current proposal. Council and the City Attorney's Office must closely scrutinize the claim that Oregon law prevents these consolidated proceedings from being held in public. Representatives from the City Attorney's Office appeared hard-pressed to articulate what differed between CRC and PRB meetings that required the latter to be private as a matter of law. Beyond the use of code names, Officer A, Officer B, which are used by the CRC in our hearings, we cannot think of much. And it appeared no analysis of the relevant statute's public interest exception had occurred in this context. Perhaps more fundamentally, Council must carefully consider whether this proposal addresses the problem at hand. These changes are said to originate from the court-ordered requirement that appeals be completed in 21 days. And the CRC recognizes, as did the DOJ settlement, that there are aspects of the city's accountability system that are Byzantine and that the process can be slower than many would like, and yes, slower than the consent judgment requires. But the minutes of the focus group meetings that we were able to review and the discussion we had last week suggested that little actual analysis was performed to identify the real bottlenecks in our process with causes of delay. Based on my own experience, as well as analysis performed by Portland Cop Watch, several factors may be in play. First, the committee has used its new power under city code to order additional investigation in several cases. This investigation is not under our control, nor is it clear whether this power would remain, as it should, in the consolidated model. Second, we've had several post-appeal meetings as a result of challenges to findings that were not accepted by the chief. Again, it's unclear whether these procedures will continue to exist in the consolidated model. Third, as the city auditor pointed out last week, the CRC is operating under a backlog of complaints that will follow us into any new procedure we adopt, whether the consolidated model or anything else. A suggestion was made that more meetings could occur per month under the consolidated model because the CRC would not be required to attend each meeting. However, the pool proposal offered by the focus group would have the same benefit without all the secrecy. Without claiming to speak for the CRC for a moment, I personally feel that a pool or panel proposal should be further considered by City Council. It's probably unreasonable to ask this group of 11 unpaid citizen volunteers to meet weekly to process appeals. But if we were, for example, to meet together for a full committee meeting once monthly, and to pledge one additional weekday per month to sit on a panel of 3 or 5 to be reserved far in advance, we could be hearing 3 appeals per month. Doing so would require us to address the increasing appeal volume in a systematic rather than an ad hoc manner. But if we could plan our calendars and our expectations for more frequent hearings, we could make real progress. As we understand it, we are now only about a month away from Council's vote on this proposal. The handling of the focus group's recommendation goes against everything the CRC heard about the purpose and intent of the group. From the first whispers we heard about private focus group meetings until the Council approved direction we heard about just a few weeks ago, We were assured that the focus group was little more than a brainstorming session, an opportunity for frank discussion of the strengths and weaknesses of our system, a chance to bat around possible improvements without criticism or judgment. The CRC is now concerned that in a rush to make a change, council will do more damage than good to the appeals process and community trust. CRC members in attendance last week were universally distressed that the city, with little discussion or fanfare, would undercut one of the primary strengths of the city's police oversight system, and that's the ability of the public to access and understand what the city does to respond to complaints.